it probably started with somewhat good intentions.
Do you want to be on top? Not really, ever.
Quickly turned really, really dark.
And my mind exploded.
God, it's so embarrassing.
And why would I do that? I don't know.
Welcome back to another episode of Sessions for the Soul.
Yes, welcome back. I'm so excited about today.
Me too. We are going to be doing an episode on, or this episode is going to be on America's Next Top Model.
America's Next Top Model. Okay.
What was it called? Reality Check?
Reality Check. I think it was called Reality. It just kept saying Reality Check across the screen, so I'm assuming that's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
We you guys, first of all, do you want to be on top? That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say on cable television.
Yeah, as the title of the intro of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on top? Not really, ever. Just kidding. Bad jokes, you guys. But yeah, this is going to be an exciting episode. Kayla and I watched the documentary together, and throughout it, there was just a lot of looking at each other like, what?
A lot of WTF moments of just shock.
What is happening?
Yeah.
What's happening? So we're going to just unpack that. But before we get into all of this, do you want to do an I said what I said?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? I feel like mine will kind of be a segue into.
Wonderful. I love that. Okay. Mine is calling what's natural alternative is insane. So natural medicine, natural eating, I mean, insert natural
so good
thing here, alternative. That's fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
And this just really occurred to me the other day because this woman was talking, I don't even know. I was reading something or who knows. But she was like, it's actually insane to me that we consider when someone wants to eat more naturally based or whatever, we consider that an alternative way of living. And my mind exploded because I was like, yeah, generationally, this is such a new way to live, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that science or whatever, I'm not discounting that, but I just think it's really weird that for millions of years, eating a certain way, being a certain way, nurturing your body a certain way, or using nature to nourish anything is now the alternative way of being is fucking.
Yeah, it's literally, I think, called complementary and alternative health approaches. And it is so interesting to think about that as you have to call it that as this other little way of treating something that's on the side and that's not as important, not as impactful. It's oh, this is a good adjunct to Western medicine.
Yeah.
It's not a good overall approach to treat whatever it is that you're treating.
Right.
It's interesting.
It is really interesting. I don't know. It's almost actually an ancestral way or an intuitive way versus I would think the modern thing would be the alternative route.
I know.
In the sense of and I'm not, again, not stating that there's not room for alternative medicine or any of that. 100%. We've made leaps and bounds in the world and
yeah,
we cure cancer. Sometimes we do incredible things with medicine and science. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Antibiotics changed the game. And also if someone wants to not eat packaged food consistently or has a more intentional way of nourishing their body or enjoys taking supplements because it nourishes them and supports them, that's an alternative way of being, dude. What?
I know. It is crazy. I think about that often.
The only alternative way of being is going to be the alternative pop punk music I'm listening to from the early 2000s. Okay. I feel like I'm channeling that today unintentionally.
You really are. And I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh
so
my
fun.
God. So fun. Yeah, I don't know. I just woke up and felt edgy.
Yeah.
No, I was painting this morning. That's really what this is. But
no,
yeah.
I love that so much. And I just this year have been really challenged on finding that balance because sometimes I lean so heavily in the alternative health approaches or holistic health approaches that feel so good to me. And I think sometimes there's a tendency to go so far in that direction where you almost have such a negative view of the Western approach. And I think it's been a good wake up call for me just with my eye issue and other health issues going on where it's like, okay, these things do have a purpose. Like without steroids, like who knows where my eye would be at this
Right.
point. And so like having gratitude for the advances that we've made and that we do live in this really unique modern time where we have like access to these things and recognizing there's all these other ancestral ways or these other like natural approaches that you can also use that are super effective for so many other things and you can use both and both are good.
No,
You know.
totally. And that's like totally, that's it. And when I was reading this, it was just interesting because this person wasn't like encouraging, like rejecting the modern tools that we have or modern
Yeah.
medicine. She was just like highlighting, like, if we consider like natural ways of living, like whether that, she definitely was pinpointing like medicine, but she also opened it up to like people who eat like caveman diets or like people who eat like more like ancestral like ways like that's almost like taboo in a way. Like I mean I deal with that like because I'm someone who like tries to nurture my autoimmune condition as much as I can and like eats, you know, like really quite like relatively clean. Having family members just be like, oh, like that's so hard, that must be so hard, or that's so like oh, that's like such a different way to do things, that's like such an alternative way of living. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you know what is crazy to me? An alternative way of living is like, you know, only, and I like no judgment. I totally understand like people like what they like and everyone has different circumstances and all these things that like contribute to this. But it just was interesting. I'm like, huh, what if like that's not alternative? What's that? What if that's like actually intuitive?
It's like a fun thought exercise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I said what I said are here to be like a little controversial, not me over apologizing and being like, but it's fine. So yeah,
I love that.
I said what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stand by it.
I'm
I
going to
stand
stand
by
by
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that. Okay, well I said what I said is that women's bodies are treated like trends and women are the ones who amplify it, not necessarily men. And I think both do. But I do think, and this is just my experience and my perspective, and I can recognize that people might have a totally different experience and perspective and honor that. But I think that women, and America's Next Top Model is going to be such a good example of this. Women have such a way of taking on the different trends that are happening. And we did a whole episode on like how the trends have changed just over our lifetime.
Totally.
And completely amplifying it and doing all the things that they need to do to adjust their body to fit the current trends. They, I mean, you just scroll TikTok for a few minutes and you'll see all sorts of videos that are, I mean, skinny is back in now. And maybe we'll do a whole episode on how damaging that is.
Yeah.
But I think in my perspective and my experience, women are the ones who are kind of amplifying it. And it's, you know, it's an interesting thing too, because I think about how like people have preferences. Everyone has preferences. And we've talked about this off the mic too, but, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Women have preferences of like what men look like or what they would like a man to look like in their romantic situation. And women have men have preferences too. Sorry, I'm feeling distracted with Berg.
No, I get it. Burke.
And so
sit.
You know, there's that component to it as well, but I think it becomes damaging when it's like your body needs to look this way, or you know, you need to like bend over backwards to like make these changes to like fit the current trends or to fit, you know, whatever the preference is for that the cultural temperature at that time. So yeah, that's just my little perspective, and I recognize it's not everyone's perspective.
First of all, yes, love that. I sorry, too am distracted from
Yeah.
Burke. You guys, one day he like is like moving my mic. I'm sure it's fine, but the squeaks you guys hear sometimes, they're Burke induced. I can edit them out mostly, but sometimes. So no, absolutely. I really do think like we see women uphold that It's
Yes,
so
yeah.
weird. Like we uphold in a lot of ways, and like whether it's like us, an industry, influencers, or like feeling the pressure internally and then like unintentionally externally like projecting that out onto the women around us.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting, but I also think like we're like so far down the line now that we don't even like recognize sometimes like what where some of these like things began. And I think that that's a really interesting thing to like dissect. I think you and I have talked about this a little bit of like how like off the mic about how some of these things, right? Like some of these standards, these beauty standards, these body standards are very much like, you know, maybe like men were upholding this like hundreds of years ago or started this, but now like we're so far down the line and we've seen like in ways we've seen a lot of leaps and bounds be made on things, but then like also weirdly at times like we like the dial moves forward and then it moves back. You guys, one sec. Burke, what is happening? You guys, this is hilarious.
I feel like we're managing like a toddler each episode.
Honestly, I feel like a toddler would be a tiny bit easier.
Easy.
That's just from like because like I don't know, but a whole dog is like a lot harder.
A 70-pound dog
is like harder to with 4 legs, 2 legs I can handle. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it's like interesting to look at like where did this essentially this like idea begin, right? Like whether that's like women being small or childlike or whatever, like that might have started with men, but how it's been carried down the line thus far and how it like proving the standard really like we're in a crazy time. I think this America's Next Top Model documentary came really at a perfect time, and we're dealing with a certain set of files and things like you know are shining a light on a lot of things. I don't know enough to like have to feel like I can speak on that at all, but one of the things I find really interesting is so like Les Wexner who owns Victoria's Secret.
Do you listen to Tim Dillon?
No.
Okay.
But guess what? Guess what he also owned? And this blew my fucking mind. He owns all of the like Limited to Justice, all of those. First of all, I heavy fucked with Limited to in 2006.
For sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The sequin skirts that I was wearing to fucking 4th grade, you guys, she ate. I had these rhinestone cowboy boots. I lived for them.
I love it.
And I would wear them to 4th grade. And why would I do that? I don't know. Also, my sweatsuit that was like neon pink and had sequin down the stripes down the side.
God,
you remember? You remember that sweatsuit? You had a green one.
God, it's so embarrassing.
I know. And we were like, so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason I brought that up is like, it's weird because like there's like a fashion trend, right? That like is like being instated by like a whole creepy fucking situation. And like in a way like men, but like who is perpetuating, like who is purchasing this stuff? Who is like, it's us, you guys. It's us. And so I totally see what you're saying. I'm amplifying that. And I think it is interesting how us as women too, I think can have an idea about like other women, but for ourselves, it's not the same. It's like a really weird paradox.
Yeah. No, and it absolutely is. Yeah.
I hope that
maybe we'll do like a whole episode on just the current body trends and how we're kind of digesting that. And more to come.
Exactly.
So yeah, do we want to just dive right into?
We're gonna dive right in.
We watched America's Next Top Model, both of us. Like it was such a big show, and we were probably yesterday. We were like, how old were we? And we were probably between like 10 and 12 when we like started really watching it. And we probably watched it a little bit more in our teenage years, like maybe reruns of like little episodes here and there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like by high school, I don't know how much we were watching it anymore. I really feel like this was like late elementary, middle school, right? Like
very impressionable years. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think it really was. Like, which is
mind blowing. Yesterday we were like, wait, did our parents know we were watching this? Like, did they really know
like what we were watching?
Yeah.
I don't think that they did. This dog is having the time of his life. The AI is going to be like, edit out all the conversation about Burke.
Yeah.
It tells me that. The software all the time. Yeah, so I think like when we did the math and we looked at the years, like really, and when we like think back, like we were in like I would say like 5th, 6th grade was like really the height of it, but like we definitely probably started watching this in like
I
4th
think
grade.
so. Yeah. Very young.
Crazy. That's like really crazy to think about when I think about a 4th grader. And like I look at
Yeah.
a 4th grader.
Yeah. And you're like, you are a child,
A
a
baby.
young child. Yeah. And to watch, I'm assuming most of you, if you're listening to this episode, have watched America's Next Top Model or at least know like what it
Is
is.
about.
And so, you can imagine a 10-year-old watching this show at a pivotal time in life and, adopting a lot of those comments of like, of what's plus size and what's overweight and just all the different things. It's very damaging.
Yeah, crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, I mean, so I think we should just dive into like hot takes on the overall essence of the documentary and then like we'll just snowball from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What was your hot take, Kayla? You're like, don't do this to me.
My initial thought and kind of the thought throughout the documentary was that I think it probably started with somewhat good intentions of Tyra Banks being someone in the modeling industry who was different and was like paving a new path and was like, I want to create a show on this thing. And then it quickly turned really, really dark. Like,
yeah.
And I think part of that is people start to experience like they get super power hungry, their ego gets the best of them. There's this like tone of, I had to go through all of this, so I'm going to make you go through all of this pain and criticism and judgment and all horrible things and humiliation, and so I think it quickly spiraled into that. And that was most of the show. Like maybe season 1 or cycle 1 or whatever it was called had like some good intentions, and then it quickly spiraled. And maybe part of that, like maybe just trying to play devil's advocate or benefit of the doubt, was like the network having certain expectations, and that was talked about a little bit. But when you completely lack integrity of being able to say like, no, this isn't okay, this isn't the direction that I wanted the show to go in, and you just buy into it and you're like, okay, yeah, whatever we got to do for good TV.
Yeah.
And you don't care about the consequences that the women, girls, really, I mean 18-year-old girls on the show, you don't care about like the damage that it's causing them. It was hard to watch. It was actually hard to watch some of these things.
Oh, for sure. Like some of these
through adult eyes.
Through adult eyes. Some of the like things that were highlighted in the documentary, like especially things that I don't remember, but I know I watched.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like your jaw kind of drops. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this to someone. And like when I think about an 18, 20, 22-year-old girl compared to like, and I know like it's age is such an interesting thing because until you get older, you think you're like so grown and you're so there. And I mean, I was the same way. I still am the same way. And I have people in their 50s being like, you're 30, you're so young. And I'm like, yeah. But it like
in a decade we'll realize
that we are so young.
Like, they commented on this exactly of like, I was just a girl. I was 18 years old or 20 years old or 21 years old. 21 may have been the oldest. I don't know.
No,
it was like,
literally.
Put in these very adult situations. You can't call your mom. You can't call a lawyer. You can't have any outside communication.
No.
You are going to do X, Y, and Z if you want to be on this show.
No, absolutely. It's crazy. And I love what you said about essentially like, well, this is what happened to me, so I'm just like preparing you for the industry, or like through like posing it through the guise of like, well, this is the industry standard, so like sorry, like this is the way it is and we're conditioning you for this. I like can relate to that in ways, and just that experience of like what it's like to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
And that was something that I was like really thinking about when watching this, because like in the first season, we really see Tyra, or the first cycle, whatever it was called, we really see Tyra, like, first of all, was her name Janice Dickinson?
Janice for sure. I think that was maybe her last name. Yeah.
This woman, you guys,
she was nasty.
the devil, like so mean, so cruel, said horrible things to these young girls about their body. Like I couldn't believe what she said at times. And the thing that was really interesting was to hear like the Jays kind of talk about how it really bothered Tyra in the first season, like because her whole intention was, I want to show like that we can make a model out of like a plus size girl, a thicker girl, any race, any type of woman, right?
Yep.
And in the first cycle, you see her kind of pushing back on Janice, who's over here like, oh, she's obese and she's old as hell. She's so ugly. I don't want to look at her. She's chubby. Like just crazy shit about women who, by the way, are like 115 pounds. Like insane, right?
Yeah.
And Tyra like is like, you know, there was like one clip we saw in the documentary where somebody says like, Janice says like, well, that's the industry standard. And Tyra's like, but why is it the industry standard? And then cut to like cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, Tyra's saying things like, look, I don't make the rules. That's just the way it is. If you want to be in this, like that's
upholding the industry standard. Yeah.
Upholding the industry standard and perpetuating the problem.
Instead of paving a new way, which is how like, at least in the documentary, like that's how she framed like this whole idea of starting America's Next Top Model.
Totally. And I think that is true. Like, I think what you said about like the intention started out really pure, but really quickly, like a lot of distortion. And I think what it really speaks to, and like what I kind of see, and like, this is just, I could be so wrong, but it seems like Tyra Banks was very much in the mindset of like, I want this is going to be successful at any cost.
Yes.
And the cost of success was like her morals, her values, and also like her integrity in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because like what we saw happen is crazy. Wait, can we talk about when they made all of the women get weighed and their heights done, get like measured and get their weight done in front of everybody. And Miss J. Alexander had a shirt on that said, "Don't feed the models."
Which, by the way, is like, are they zoo animals? Like, what?
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm like literally like, wait, is this real fucking
and
life?
How they're like, oh, this girl's 5'10" and 115 pounds. And they're like, you're a little overweight. You need to really watch what you ate. What?
No, Janice fucking saying she needs to lose 100 pounds. And Tyra said, well, then she'd weigh 30 pounds. And she was like, perfect, even better.
Yeah. Gross.
I'm mortified. And also like watching this through adult eyes and thinking about our child selves absorbing all of this. Mm-hmm. At the time, I don't think we batted an eye about how problematic this was. I mean, I know we
not at all.
I don't think we did at all.
The things that stood out most to me that I can recall specifically as a child adopting those things is size 2 or less. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to be in order to be like beautiful. And the scene of the girl with the really small waist, I think it was Shandy maybe.
Yeah.
Of, you know, wrapping her hands around her waist and touching, you know, both sides of her fingers together. And I remember doing that as a kid, of trying to figure out like, how can I get my waist that small? How can I, you know, become a size 2, a size 0, which is ridiculous and really sad and so damaging. Yeah. And like, that's the kind of stuff and way more that was displayed on the show.
No, I know. That is the kind of stuff. Like, it was really interesting, like, of the girls talking, you know, now as adults and talking about how they weren't eating, they weren't drinking water. Mm-hmm. They literally were putting themselves in terrible situations. And I think that some of this was probably on the show, but like, there were like medics on the scene all the time coming and like women passing out, women being malnourished, getting sick and hospitalized because like they had a stomach bug or whatever, but they were so dehydrated, so malnourished, emaciated that they literally, their bodies were like gonna die. And that's actually fucking insane that we were putting that on TV and praising it. Like
this is good.
No, this is like, well, this is part of it. This is like, and you know, one of the things I think, like we were talking about this yesterday a little bit, we didn't talk too much off camera about the documentary because I think we both wanted to like
process a little bit
and like, you know, be able to have this conversation. Yeah. And one of the things we did touch on though was like how I noted like it was interesting being a chubbier kid, like, and definitely having internalized like all this messaging about how I was fat. For me, like watching the show a lot of the time, it was like, well, I will, that's not, this isn't even like possible for me. Or like, like, oh, I definitely desired to be thin for multiple reasons. But like I definitely internalized like the, oh fuck, like I am so far from this. Like we got to travel miles to get there. And it was so crazy seeing how they considered like what they considered plus size is insane to me.
Crazy.
Like literally Tyra Banks saying, well, she's a size 6, so she's a plus size model. A size 4, a plus size model. What the actual fuck? This is crazy.
It's so damaging.
Yeah, so damaging to consider that a plus size model. And then also like the way that this was on TV, like the way that, and low key, like the way America, like we all hopped on the train, like and nobody thought twice about it. And also like I totally understand this is in the height of like, listen, you know what shaped me so much as a kid? Because I had older sisters, like magazines were big in our house, like loved getting a magazine. The way that my like 7-year-old brain, 6-year-old brain, like internalized Kate Moss being called fat on the cover of like People magazine in like 2001.
It's crazy.
And I just remember like looking at that magazine cover and being like the article was crazy.
Yeah, I fear that we are returning to those times with like, and we'll do like we'll do a whole episode on this, but just like low-rise jeans are back, GLP-1s are, and everyone's thin, and like we're seeing history repeat itself, I think, at this point. And yeah, and I think again that was another one of those things where like the intent was to like provide a path for plus size models to be able to have a career, and what they did was like completely tear these women down.
100%.
Like anytime they would have like a plus size model, using air quotes, like on the show, which I think was kind of rare,
super rare, especially in the first like
several seasons or cycles. Yeah, they would just tear them down. And some of those women talked in the documentary about that. Of like, I was brought on as a plus size model, and anytime we would do a runway or shoot, they wouldn't have clothes in my size. And so it was like this big deal. They'd have to like cut the seams, cut the zippers, clip things on. And it's like, that's so humiliating to have to experience that.
And they could have.
Yeah.
They could have had the clothes. Yeah. Like that's the thing that's like production had, especially after cycle 1, their budget was insane.
Yeah, they could have made accommodations.
And they knew this person was going to be there. Yeah. So like it's actually really, it's bullying. It's really shitty.
Yeah.
And I also think like it wasn't just like size, right? Like the teeth.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Like heartbreaking actually, because like, I think we talked about this, like Nigel Barker, he was one of the judges and super handsome.
He seemed pretty authentic. Like
he
a
did.
Good guy. Yeah. Yes. Like in the documentary, he seemed pretty authentic. I think.
I really think so too. The only person who seemed inauthentic or like really like out of touch with the whole situation was Tyra.
Yeah, and Ken, the producer.
Oh yes, and Ken
stood by pretty much everything they did.
Yeah, which is crazy. There was never really an apology or a acknowledgement of like, yeah, that was really wrong. It was like, well, that was just the time period. That's like being like,
and hindsight's 2020. That was the closest that they got to saying like, oh yeah, we fucked up big time.
No, literally. And that's actually like not.
It's not.
That's not
taking accountability.
No, exactly. But there was a girl who had a gap in her teeth, and it's crazy to be on the other side of that today, where like seeing a model with a gap in her teeth is like so incredibly normal.
Yeah, and also beautiful. I don't think you said what Nigel said.
Oh, Nigel said perfection is boring.
Yeah.
He literally was like, well, perfection is boring when mind you, so like in the judges panel one day, like Tyra and Janice and everybody is just like, you need to fix your teeth, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like crazy stuff to all these different women about like nobody wants to see that smile because you have a gap in your teeth. So this one girl who did not want to close the gap in her teeth at all, it was like so special to her. Like she
loved it.
Loved
Even as
it.
a child, she said she loved it. She was happy with the way she looked.
They made her close her gap. They told her if she did not close her gap, she was getting kicked off the show.
Yeah.
And like these girls have been basically brainwashed and bullied into like, this is your shot at success. This is the only way.
They said, if you want to continue here, you will get your gap closed. And so she went and did it. And then she was on the documentary as well and said what was so horrible is that a few cycles later, they wanted to widen
that gap.
Yeah. And that then became beautiful. And so, yeah, it's so damaging. I think her name was Joni.
Yeah.
Also had her teeth
like
worked
pulled,
on.
Like pulled her teeth.
Yeah. And she was in so much pain. She's had, of course, issues since then with her mouth and her bite and all of the things. And like, she wasn't allowed to make any phone calls, wasn't allowed to have a say if you want to be on the show.
No, literally.
It's sick.
It is sick. It's really sad. And to hear these women who were like put in these positions to have like actual like procedures done, right? Not able to call their mom.
Yeah.
Or anybody.
And appearance modifications started out as like, we're going to give you extensions. We're going to, change waxing you on TV. Like
you're right.
Yeah. Things that can be easily reversed and that aren't like serious medical procedures. And then they really, I think, went way too far.
No, exactly. I mean, exactly. Like highlighting how the line in the sand moved back every single, like, okay, we have to have, this is the line. We're going to cut your hair. We're going to dye it blonde and we're going to whatever. We're going to like make you,
which has its own issues as well.
No, 100%.
Like, why are we doing that?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And we're going to like give you a bombshell makeover is like how they framed it.
Yeah.
To, you need to get we're going to get you veneers. Essentially. We're putting caps on your teeth. We're pulling your teeth. That's fucking crazy.
So painful. Yeah.
And also like no heads up about this. No like, hey, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. On the spot, cameras happening in the middle of a challenge.
And it's framed as like this amazing thing. Like, we're doing you a favor.
We're going to do this for you.
Yeah.
And the way like Tyra, like low key, like what the fuck? Tyra's like not.
I know.
It's really manipulative and it's really yucky. It's very exploitative as well. Like that's one of the things I kept thinking about is like these women are being exploited in such a way. And I think one of the things that's coming to mind right now is how it was all like posed as like, this is your shot at success. And then come to find out on the other side of it, all of these women actually were essentially blacklisted from the industry. And Tyra acknowledged to one of the women that she knew that would happen because they were they weren't taken seriously as models. They were considered reality stars in a time where like reality TV, like nowadays,
it's more normalized.
It is. Yeah. I think you can get opportunities like being a reality star. It's not, it doesn't have the same, like actually like now that can be a foot in the door.
Yeah.
As to where back then it was like, well, we don't want anything to do with you because you were on America's Next Top Model.
I think it was one of the winners of the cycles who got like her deal with whatever the agency was that they had the deal with. And for 15 years, I think she said, she was never getting castings. Her roommate who was getting castings and who I think has become a successful model said they literally told her like, well, she's not getting castings because she's from America's Next Top Model and we have to treat her differently. And Tyra called this woman and said, I know you've been struggling for the last 15 years and I've done nothing about it, which is a crazy thing. And not from an apology standpoint, but just acknowledging like, yeah, I've known and I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. And the other women talking about like, they maybe didn't win America's Next Top Model, but they still wanted to try and pursue a modeling career. But being on the show was such a hindrance to them. The portfolio that they developed during the show with these like outrageous shoots that they were doing couldn't even be used because they were like so wild and
like just so much curated prop. Yes. Like it wasn't like genuine, like raw model photo.
Yeah. And so many of them, the majority of them just went back to like the life that they were living. And what was sad about that is like you got on the show with like the promise of a path to a career, like a really successful career. And
And
that didn't happen.
no, exactly. And the way on the show, they would be like, what are you going to do? Go back to working at Dairy Queen?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
what? It was so demeaning and like degrading, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, that happens. Like, that's real life. Like, sometimes you do have to go, you know, move home or whatever after pursuing something like that in the industry, whether it's like modeling, acting, whatever. And the way that like they specifically on America's Next Top Model would like treat these women or like and frame it. And also the piece of like when they were doing the audition process or like the casting process, a lot of these women were like, I'm so unhappy in my life. I hate my life. I hate my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they really intentionally chose those women.
Vulnerable women.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, well, you're so beautiful. You could be a model. And then like mentally abuse them the entire time. And we're like, actually,
physically.
actually, you're so fucking ugly. Like,
yeah.
And you're so fat and you can never do this.
And then standing there, like we briefly talked about yesterday, of like, where's your confidence?
Girl, that one hit, like that one fucking struck a chord for me because it was like, some of this actually really reminded me because like the whole premise of like the show, right, is like their students essentially being coached on how to be successful models, right? It reminded me a lot of acting school in a lot of ways. And I can acknowledge that like not everybody I went to school with had this experience, but anybody who was in a room with me, in a class with me and got to witness some of the things that were said, and I know other people had these experiences there too, like genuinely would be like, yeah, I know what she's talking about. But like this thing where it's like just degrade you, tear you down, like say crazy shit to you, and then be like, on the flip side of that coin, in the same hour, be like, or a day later, be like, when are you gonna love yourself? Why do you hate yourself? Where's your confidence? And the like fucking whiplash you're getting of like, you should be proud of who you are. When 4 days before I was being told like, I mean, I told you this yesterday. There was one teacher I had who said these two things to me within like, I mean, I don't even know the time frame. It all fucking bleeds together. But I had a teacher say to me one day, there are actresses with thighs as big as your forearm, so you need to figure it out. That was one day. And then another day she said, yeah, there's no space for you in this industry. You either need to gain 100 pounds and be a fat actress, be obese, or you need to lose 100 pounds. That's up to you. And I like just being like, okay, what the fuck? And the damage, I like can genuinely say so insecure, hating my body. And that was just one teacher. Like this went on in many different rooms. Oh my God, this one teacher. The things that she said to me, I actually one day left the room. I didn't even care because frankly, you guys, if I'm being so honest, at a certain point toward the end of my time there, I was really, really stoned all the time because I was just like, I was like, I actually have to get high to go to class today. And I would just be like, okay, cool, whatever. Like I stopped really caring at all. And I was, you know, I just did a mock audition for the industry. It was like our industry prep class right before graduation. And so it was like my mock audition. And this woman just like literally was like, why are you so nervous? What the fuck is wrong with you? Said all this crazy shit to me. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, why would you wear that outfit? You look so ugly. You look terribly unflattering. Like, this is awful. Like, you should just really consider a different career. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I leave the room, honestly, a little unaware. Like, I really do think I like blacked out a lot of the time. And someone from my class was out in the hallway after, like, on my way back from the bathroom. And she was like, please don't kill yourself. And I was like, what? And she was like, can I hug you? That was awful. And she gave me a hug and I was like, I'm fine. Like, and she was like, are you fine? Like, I don't think you're fine.
For her.
I know. She was like, she came through and I was like, am I not fine? I was like, I don't know. And then I was probably like, hey, do you have a Xanax? And so, you know what I'm saying? Like, was I fine? I don't think so. But the reason I bring that up is because like that's the essence I really was getting from watching like these judges on America's Next Top Model just degrading these women like crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then asking them exactly like you said, like, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your dignity?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, are you kidding me? It's
It's like,
actually mental abuse.
I was just gonna say that it's mental abuse. It's like these crazy mind games, and it's like as as an 18, 19, 20-year old woman standing there, it's I just can't even imagine. And not just receiving that, but then to have that aired for the whole world to see.
No, that would have been way more traumatizing. Like, and the thing is these girls actually didn't know what made the cut
Yeah.
until all of America was watching it.
Yep.
They had no idea what was being aired until
Yeah.
they until all of us were seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
And how heartbreaking and horrifying some of that was for them, because
Mm-hmm.
what was cut out maybe would have given more context to things. Like
Yeah.
for the story, like Ken and Tyra were really like, well, now this is a story point that
So we really need to like dig deeper on this and get more footage and
like essentially like Jay, what was his last name? Not Miss J, the other
Mr. J,
J.
I think is what he went by, but I
Yeah.
forget his last name.
Yeah, me too. But he would be told, like, hey, we need more of this in this shoot. Like, we need
Mm-hmm.
more about how she's fat. We need
Mm-hmm.
more about how, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the point was, like,
Yeah.
dig into this.
Yeah.
We need like more on that for the storyline.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. Should we talk about the party night?
The party night. Yeah, we should.
Um, I mean, it's to this whole point of for the story and like going way overboard, like lawsuit overboard. I'm shocked that's never happened, or at least it didn't appear that that happened. But one of the girls, like they invited all these guys over that they like just went on some sort of a day excursion with, and they were drinking. They were all drinking together. Cameras were rolling. They were in the hot tub together. This girl started making out with one of the guys who was there. She was at this point blackout drunk. She had a boyfriend at home, and they ended up getting in the shower together. Cameras followed into the shower together, or into the bathroom, like recording this whole thing, and then into the bed together, where again, she's blackout drunk, and cameras are rolling, filming essentially non consensual sex. And she wakes up the next day realizing what happened and having very little memory of what happened, but also being aware, like, oh my gosh, the cameras got all of this. And instead of the producers and the crew being like, oh, this is like way overboard, like, this is actually a really big deal, we can't show this, like, we need to actually address this, this is a big issue, they were like, ooh, this is a good storyline. Let's make her call her boyfriend and we're going to film the whole thing. And she's going to have to tell him that she cheated on him. And so they record that whole thing. And she watching that, I think the call was almost harder to watch because it was like so visceral. And she's like literally on the ground in the fetal position. I almost want to cry talking about it. It was like so hard to watch. And the camera guys who were told that they have to record it went up to her afterwards and were like, we're so sorry that we had to record this. The producers told us like we did not have an option. And that's their job, right? Like, this is how they're making an income for their families or whatever. And how sick that they felt about the whole thing. And the conversation that Tyra had with her, like the big sis conversation of like, oh yeah, I've been cheated on, and tried to like have that, you know, big sister talk, and framed it as sometimes we just need to like, what did she say? Like,
she said
our
like
desires, like
you gotta like control that like primal desire,
as if she was the one who was like pursuing this guy and it was all consensual.
And like from the Jays and Nigel learning that there was so much that didn't make the cut that made it look way fucking worse.
Yeah.
So like what we were shown on TV, right, was this scene.
Mm-hmm.
But what like all unfolded was like a lot more where it's like, hey, I don't think she's okay. She's like in the drinking in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Hasn't eaten for days.
Yep.
She weighed out like 100.
She was so small.
She was so tiny. And she even said that. She was like, I was so thin.
Yeah.
And she's like, we didn't eat a lot because like we didn't want to be bloated for photo shoots.
Yeah.
So literally starving herself.
Yeah.
And getting in a hot tub while drinking, like we all know that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And then this man, like, in no world can I imagine on a reality TV show like that something like America's Next Top Model, right? Or insert show here aside from like what Love Island or Too Hot to Handle or like some of these like
Yeah.
dating shows where it's essentially for the scandalism of that.
Yeah.
But actually some of those shows have like even limited alcohol consumption and things like that due to lawsuits and things that have taken place. Because it's crazy to let people get drunk and then not at all intervene and say, and to film every intimate moment. Like that's heartbreaking.
It was interesting to see the take of like the Jays and Nigel of like, yeah, when we became aware of that and watched what had been recorded, it was like, whoa, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, we can't show this. And then to listen to Tyra and Ken, the producer, not apologize, not recognize that anything was wrong, but to say, you have no idea how much we cut out of that.
No, that's
to defend what they did.
Yeah, and what they did publish. And I think you also brought up a really great point about how the whole framing of the thing was framing her as
she pursued him
as the bad guy.
She was out of control.
You cheated on your boyfriend. Like it was almost like it was all her fault, you know?
Also sick. Tyra had her own show at some point, like talk show.
Oh my God.
Had this girl on and was like, do you remember when? And mind you, this girl, I think her name was Shandy, never watched the scene. It was so incredibly traumatizing for her. Even still, when she was being interviewed as an adult now today, you could tell it was a very impactful experience for her, of course. And on the talk show, she shares with Tyra, I've never watched it. I can't watch it. I do not want to watch it. And what does Tyra do? She plays the whole scene in front of the talk show. Shandy looks down, doesn't watch it. And Tyra's like, I noticed you put your head down. How come you couldn't watch that?
Diabolical.
That's sick.
No, it's diabolical. It's actually insane. And this was that watching that actually was, and that was like early on in the fucking cycles. Yes. This show went on for 20 more cycles. Like that line just kept moving back. Like it was really heartbreaking to watch that. And also like as a young girl, it is so crazy how, you know, a lot of the time what can happen with non-consensual sex or assault like that of any form, in the moment, you don't even always register what has happened or what's happening. Yeah. It's like years of processing or just any time at all to get to be like, wait, so like I was blackout drunk and then this happened and then like, okay. And then like having to reckon with like, okay, that was traumatizing, like whatever, right? This girl had to do this
while the world was watching.
And also not with anybody going and saying like, do you need a therapist? Like, what can we do to support you in this time? Because you're stuck here. Yeah. No. And she said, this broke my heart after the fact multiple times when being criticized, like, you know, by the judges or whatever, like after challenges, just saying like, I just want to go home. I really just want to go home. Yeah. And then being like almost like not letting her, like, wouldn't let her call her mom, wouldn't let her call her boyfriend at home to like just be like, this thing happened.
Unless it was on camera.
And when it was on camera, it was all from the guys of like, you need to tell him you cheated on him. I felt like that part was really, really disgusting because she didn't even get to have the authentic conversation of like, this is what happened.
We're avoiding the R word here for reasons, but that's what it is.
That's what this is. This is the R word. And she did not even get the opportunity to digest that. She literally was told, you cheated on him. And
then she shared after the fact when she eventually got eliminated, went home. They tried, it kind of sounded like for a few years to like work on the relationship. But she said after that aired, she would just they'd be walking on the streets together and people would recognize her from the show and just call her a slut and just all sorts of things. where it was really hard for both of them to like move through that and tune that out. And I can't even imagine. And that's because of how it was framed on the show.
100%. And this is one of the things that's really problematic. I think nowadays it's a lot different, but at the time it was really problematic about reality TV is like the viewer not being aware of how curated certain things are. Like you guys, it was fake. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, I think we literally like know, like
there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and people get their own platforms to like share like that's not how that went down. There's way more to the story. Like we're so much more aware.
100%. And like we also know that like producers plant problems,
Yes.
like as to where back then reality TV was like new.
Yeah.
There was no awareness of like what's actually going on and like the bigger picture. Like we really thought at the time there was like, I think a lot of us thought that like verbatim is like what was happening. And like this is like, it was more of like a documentary than it was a curated situation that's heavily produced. And so I think because of that, like it was a really damaging time to be so vulnerable in those spaces. And this was like a vulnerable situation anyway, because these women, like it was very, like it's already hard. Like my nightmare would have been, especially at that age or like back then, would have been the day that they like pulled out scales. And because when they pulled out a scale and measured these women and took their height, it was like, oh God, like you're 117 pounds, you fat cow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Like
it's again just so humiliating in front of everyone, in front of the whole world.
Yeah, it's not good. I feel like, what was her name?
Which one?
The non-consensual.
Oh, Shandy. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shandy today obviously is still deeply like working through this and traumatized, but also like I think it was really beautiful to hear at the end of the documentary a lot of these women talk about what they've gone on to do with their lives. And that was like that was special.
Yeah.
And you know, I think like in ways, I think actually hearing her story was really important for viewers and like people who did watch this show or who are going to watch this documentary to understand like how irresponsible and reckless the whole concept of America's Next Top Model really was. Like today, can you imagine a show like that being successful today? I actually can't.
No. And at the end of the documentary, Tyra said, I'll see you for season 25 or something. Like there's plans for the future.
Pray she was joking.
I hope she was joking too. Yeah. Because
stick to your hot ice cream in Australia, honey.
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
You guys, if you don't know, Tyra Banks is now like
has an ice cream brand, Smize.
Yeah, Smize and
Dream or something.
Yeah, Smize and Dream hot ice cream.
You know what? If it's keeping her from harming women.
Wait, it's crazy to have a sweets brand when you bullied people for being fat for so many years. Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It was really funny though hearing her talk about how she wants her legacy to be ice cream now. I was like,
it feels a bit confusing.
I'm like, I would want my legacy to be anything but America's Next Top Model too.
Yeah.
Like also, you know. So that makes sense. I get it. Yeah. We were talking before we started filming too about like how Fear Factory and crazy some of these shoots got. I think we should talk about how crazy some of these shoots were, and also like insane.
Yeah. They did start getting crazy, and this is something that Mr. J talked about because he was like the creative director of the shoots at the beginning, and then he really lost creative control, but still had to show up and, you know, do his thing. And how even he was like, what is happening? Like this feels so crazy or so wrong. Like when they did the ethnicity or race swaps twice. Not once, twice.
No. And my favorite is how like this is really bad, but how he had to like sell it to them. Like, are you guys so excited? Today we're gonna do. He's like, okay, today's challenge. We're so excited. And then he would be like, you guys are gonna swap races.
You could tell he was like really trying.
No, and he would go down the list and be like, "You're gonna be Asian. You're gonna be black. You're gonna,"
Yeah.
and like it was obviously like dramatic.
And these women, it kind of, you could almost feel the women being like a little fucking confused. And they had a child with them of that race, like natively of that race in the shoot.
No, I think it was Miss J when they were like showing that, being like, and what the fuck is that? Like, just being like, what? Because why are there children in this shoot at all? First of all, no, I have so many questions, so many things to say about that. That was crazy.
It's crazy. They did homeless shoots. They did what was it, like you had to look dead, like from different crime scenes, basically.
Yeah, like murder shoots.
Murders.
And in that shoot, they literally, a whole casting point for one of these girls was that her mother was shot and paralyzed from gun violence and was now in a wheelchair for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew this. This was like heavily part of the interview process, and they made her be her
like scene kind of
was
set.
Gun violence.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And she said it really felt like it was intended to like bring a huge emotional reaction out of me.
Yeah.
She's like, and I actually didn't give them that. I was incredibly uncomfortable. I just like got through the shoot, and they were like, yeah, this is like in her judging. They were like, this isn't really like,
you know, they didn't get what they wanted out of
it. Yeah. And she was like, I'm still to this day so pleased by that, because I was not going to like get satisfaction of like
breaking down over like, oh, this is so triggering, even though of course that's triggering.
100%. Like she was triggered, but like she's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And they also did like crazy shoots with like different like animals, like Fear Factor-esque. And you guys, someone had to bedazzle these cockroaches and that were all over this one girl, because these cockroaches are covered in jewels. And all I could think was like,
that was someone's job.
That was someone's job. Someone showed up to set that day and they were like, hey, you need to put this pattern of jewels on glue them onto these cockroaches. I would literally be thinking to myself, what in my life, like what turn?
Yeah.
There was a wrong turn somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I would be like, there was a wrong turn somewhere.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There were some crazy shoots, crazy. And that, I mean, at that time, I think Fear Factor was really big. I think in the documentary, they mentioned Fear Factor and Survivor and like these different shows that were like, ooh, you're going through like these crazy obstacles and tests and challenges. And so they tried to kind of adopt that in America's Next Top Model. And I think they lost the plot.
Just a hair. Wait, the shoot that was about like addictions, like girls.
Yeah.
The one girl, like, I mean, all of it, like there's girls like shooting up drugs, like all these different things. But there was one girl, this like just felt incredibly tone deaf to the situation. They did like an eating disorder like section of it.
Yeah.
Fake vomit, like
what and also like in what world is this an actual photo shoot? Like no, this does not replicate what if they're going to pursue a modeling career, like what they're going to be doing in an actual modeling career.
No.
Like, why are we making it so extreme? Why are we trying to make an eating disorder chic? Why are we trying to make gun violence chic? Like,
no, it was crazy.
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
At all.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It was really crazy. And it's what's one of the things that really sticks out the most to me, and I think like we both agree on this, is like how watching this now with fresh adult eyes and looking at everything that like took its course over the years of this show and how like crazy it really got and damaging it was.
Yeah.
How Tyra being interviewed and talking about all this still actually didn't find any fault in it and didn't take any accountability.
None. Defended everything. Had very minimal answers. Like there was a lack of depth, I think, in any of her responses.
Yeah.
And again, I think the closest she got was saying hindsight is 2020. And that's like so far away from taking accountability, apologizing, recognizing that what you did or what happened or what you signed off on was so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was so yucky. I do think that like the Jays and Nigel felt very authentic overall. And when they were shown clips, their reaction of like, ooh, yeah, I remember that. And it like did not feel good. Or Mr. J actually trying to leave the show because he was at a place of like, this doesn't represent me. I feel like I'm having to like cross over my own values and morals and ethics in order to produce these shoots. I can't keep doing this. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even myself anymore. And and by the way, still having to work on the show for many more cycles after that. And but looking at it through that lens of like not everyone was like fully on board with this and they still kept going, but there were people who clearly were like on board with anything as long as it meant good ratings.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think Tyra and Ken really perpetuated.
Yeah.
But then the network got sold or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
this was really crazy too, is like, I mean, Tyra justified, I guess, essentially, like some of her behavior and some of what happened. And also, like, eventually the Jays and Nigel being fired.
Yeah.
As a new network executive called her and said, like, there's no sacred cows.
Yeah.
You need to fire these three, even though they were the whole show. Like, let's be fucking real.
Yeah.
The like part of the show that was that what held the glue together was literally the Jays and Nigel
And
and
that
Tyra.
showed in the ratings once they let those three go, which by the way, like the way I interpreted that is like that's a business decision, whatever. Like if they wanted to try and change that, that's fine. But the way that Tyra went about it was like so disgusting because those they were like truly friends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the ratings showed like that people were watching because this is the part that they liked.
Yeah.
And I think it was like they saw a 54% dip
In
in
views.
views once they let them go.
And let me tell you, it makes sense because like what we were seeing, I mean, I don't think we watched
I don't think so
after.
either. Yeah.
I think we really must have like not watched consistently. And
In
then
our
like,
teenage years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like even at all after that, maybe.
Yeah.
But one of the things that like really stands out to me is that like I think Tyra was willing to do anything to maintain, be successful, and like continue to like ride that wave. And
Yeah.
the wave, like, I don't know why more people don't just be like, you know what? Let's end on a fucking high note.
More people need to do that.
More people need to do that. Like, hey, things are really good. Let's just wrap it up here. Because guess what? Like, that pendulum's going to swing back eventually.
It is, yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
I mean, a high note's a stretch for that show because, like,
I know. High note strictly meaning ratings and viewership. And Tyra eventually got let go and replaced.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's.
Yeah, one of the things that was so funny yesterday when we were watching this is they like when they highlighted that like after like cycle 2 or 3 it became global and there was like was like China's next top model and this next top model and like Africa's next top model. And we both were like, great, we're globally traumatizing women. This isn't just in America. Like, because it just was crazy.
Yeah.
So no, highly 10 out of 10 would not recommend a show like that or like a situation like that.
And you know what's kind of unfortunate is I feel like looking back, the whole concept could have been actually really cool and like almost healing if it were through the lens of diversity, inclusion, actually paving a new path for the modeling world.
Totally.
But it wasn't that.
No, it was. And like what's crazy is like after they fired everybody and they went on to do different seasons, like they did do like petite models only, like meaning like under 5'7" and like they started to like pull on the diversity, like
I don't think it was helping their ratings though at that point.
No,
I think
it wasn't.
they were too far gone.
They were too far gone. And it was crazy. And then what's interesting is like how this became a conversation again, I guess, because like I honestly hadn't thought about America's Next Top Model for a decade.
Long time. Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
Didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
And then people, I guess during COVID is like kind of what it sounded like on the documentary because they really highlight like the social media discourse around this.
People must have like started watching reruns.
Yeah.
At that point.
And nowadays the TikTok was like wait, what the fuck? Have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
And like a whole generation of us were like, yeah, we have,
Yeah.
but like didn't remember. And then
Yeah.
as it was like coming back around, it was like, wait a second, this is really bad.
Yes. Really
And
bad. And to see it again through adult eyes is so different than seeing it through, you know, a 10, 11, 12-year old's eyes or teenager, you know, whenever, however old you were when you started watching it, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, very different. Very, very different.
Yeah, it was a crazy thing.
I won't be going back and watching all the shows, but I feel like I've seen enough,
I've
you know,
seen
through
enough.
my adult eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if you guys are curious or interested in any of that, I would say 100% just watching this documentary. It's on Netflix. It's 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like about an hour or less, just a little less. And like that is all you need really
Yeah.
to get the context and the gist of what was going on. And it is an interesting watch, but I'd be so intrigued to hear from our listeners, like if you watched it
Yeah.
or like if you watched the show, even like
Yeah.
let us
Did it
know.
leave an impact on you? Was it influential in like how you viewed yourself, or I don't know.
Yeah, any of it. You know, because I think that this is like these are good conversations for us to be having.
Yeah.
And also as we're all getting older, we, you know, as women who maybe are perpetuating or upholding,
Yeah.
you know, unintentionally. I think like that's one of the things about, especially at the beginning for Tyra, is like it was unintentionally she was perpetuating the industry.
Yeah.
Like I think she like really like it wasn't super conscious. It was like this is what it is. This is the standard.
Yeah.
And like you need to be different or like make yourself smaller or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And I think what I said was is like we it's an interesting dialogue. It's interesting to look back at these things and maybe like get curious about like where were some of these seeds planted. I know for me, like that was one of the things that was coming to mind was like, God, we were watching this at 10 years old.
Yeah.
10 years old.
Very impressionable at
Crazy.
that time. Yeah. I think if I were to watch it today, I feel so much more like just solid in who I am, you know, to see something like that and be like, okay, well, this is like super damaging. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. But as a kid, that's a whole different story.
Oh, absolutely. As a kid, it's like,
Yeah.
and also like it was what was trending.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's things today that like what's trending
Mm-hmm.
where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not, this should not be trending.
No, let's not go back.
No, let's not go back.
I fear we are.
I
And it
know.
just doesn't feel great. But yeah, I mean, I think like the empowering part of this, like get conscious about the way that you're like adopting these things, perpetuating these things, upholding these things, and see what you can do about like getting, you know, more grounded and like who you are and loving your body, loving everybody.
Yeah.
And especially if you have kids, like
No, absolutely.
it's yeah, it's I think we have the opportunity to make a change.
Yes,
We
we
just
do. I
yeah.
think like I love that you said, especially if you have kids, if you're around young girls ever, um, the biggest but most important, impactful thing you can do is talk about yourself kindly,
Mm-hmm.
talk about other women's bodies kindly, and also like build them up. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. A few months ago, I was on a walk with my grandma and my cousin, and my grandma says to my cousin, who is 12,
Mm-hmm.
I love how skinny your legs are. And I said, no.
Yeah.
I said, we don't say that. And she was like, what? Why not? Like my grandma was like, oh, we don't? Why not? And I said, Grandma, we do not comment on other women's bodies.
No.
And I said, because we love her. Yes, we love her legs and we'll love them at any size. We'll love them if they get bigger. We'll love them if they get smaller because we love her.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with her legs. And she was like, oh, I see. And I was like, because her legs aren't going to stay that way forever because she's 12.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my cousin like is very smart and she'll be 13 in March. And she looked at me and was like, that was funny. And I was like, well, I'm glad you think it's funny, little miss. But I was like, I will literally like go to war for you guys, especially with this woman.
Yeah.
Because my grandma,
Yeah.
like, grew up in the 40s and the 50s. It was a different time. Um, and it shows. It shows, okay? But like genuinely, that's like one of the most impactful things I think we can do for young girls. And if we see things happening like online, on social media, or like on a show like America's Next Top Model, bringing like having the conversation, if like if they are exposed to something like that, being like, hey, so how does that make you feel when you hear that? Asking questions, getting curious, and then explaining like, so you know, this isn't actually right, and this is not actually correct or true. Like this is having the conversation. I think one of the most important things is helping young girls understand that so much of what we see online is actually like, or on TV or whatever, is actually like for the factor of like shock factor, or like the what's that called, like the like rage bait almost. And so it's like,
and because it does perform well, like objectively people are drawn to that because they're so curious for whatever reason. And so that's the unfortunate piece, is that it works, right? But also, having the conversations about like, this is so curated, this is so posed, this is so edited, this is like fill in the blank of whatever the content is, I think it starts with us and it can work its way down into other generations.
Yes, and that's all we can do. That is like my biggest hope, is that like the girls we raise, the girls we're around, love themselves. Because they already have to fight it out like in the world. So like at home is where like the last place they need to fight it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It should be their safe
place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they should feel safe enough to love their bodies, and we should like help them love their bodies.
Yeah.
And that's for men too. But
absolutely. Yeah.
But hey, guess what? America's Next Top Model was about women. So, and it was crazy. Like it was crazy. So
it was.
I don't know. Do you have anything else we need to add?
I don't think so. I didn't bring my list, or I don't have my phone with my list, but I think that covered
everything. I think that covered everything. I mean, I literally, I'll peek, but I genuinely am here to tell you, I think we really covered it.
Amazing.
Yep.
I think we did.
Oh my God. One thing. Yes. We have to say this.
Okay.
Tyra, her excuse for why the show got so crazy was like, well, the viewers asked for this. Like 100% a gaslight. She said, you guys asked for this.
Yeah.
What? We did not ask for this. This is crazy. So that was one of my notes. And this is completely out of context in regards to this episode as we are wrapping up. However.
No, but I feel like that highlights her overall approach to the whole documentary. Was like, you asked for this. This is what you wanted. This is what we gave you.
This is not my fault.
It was all for the views.
Yeah.
It was, It was disappointing.
It was disappointing. Yeah. I don't have a high regard for her.
I love a person who's able to sit there and say like, oof, I'm so embarrassed or ashamed of this decision that I made. And I'm so sorry about this thing that I said or did or signed off on. And here's how I'm rectifying it, or here's what I'm doing to make it right, or just taking accountability, taking ownership, and recognizing like, oh, that was so wrong. And here's what we're doing differently. None of that happened.
Literally, exactly.
Maybe for legal reasons, who knows? But honestly, I don't even care. Like that, it's not that hard to sit there and just recognize like, oh yeah, it wasn't our best moment.
No, literally, she didn't have empathy at all.
No.
And so, 100%. That's all she wrote, folks.
Yeah. So
thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.